Hey everybody, we have a new sponsor and a special deal for our listeners of Karen Isn't Always Right. If you have any photos or documents that you need to scan, or videotapes, audio tapes, or film reels that you need to import, you should check out avgearguy.com. If you mention the name Karen Isn't Always Right when you order, you're going to get 5% off, and a portion of your order is going to help support the podcast Karen Isn't Always Right. All of those formats degrade over time and are sitting ducks in the case of fire or theft. Why not convert it all to digital? All your memories can be stored safely on the cloud or even a hard drive that fits in your pocket. AV Gear Guy has over 30 years of experience with all kinds of media, and they can accept orders from anywhere in the U.S. Don't forget to mention the name of Karen Isn't Always Right and get 5% off. For more details and to book, visit their website at avgearguy.com. That's avgearguy.com. Hey friends, it's Christopher here with another episode of Karen Isn't Always Right. Today we've got Gretchen coming on the show, and Gretchen I know all the way back from high school, which is the better part of, well, a long-ass time. Gretchen and I have kept in touch over the years, and coincidentally she lives not too far away, so we were able to connect, sit down and talk for a little bit, and it came up because she had posted a little thing on Facebook about how she had admittedly been a Karen herself. And really it turned out to be not all that bad. But it was nice of her to come on and share her perspective about why it happened, as well as to share her own insights into what she does at her job and some of the difficulties and challenges that she encounters. So I had a good time, and I hope you guys enjoy this one.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going great.
Good. Tell us who you are.
My name is Gretchen Lynch, and I'm an old friend of yours from high school.
Yeah, we've known each other a long time.
Long time, yes.
But this is actually the second time in 1 week that we've seen each other since high school, right?
I know. It's been like
25 years.
25 years, and
Yeah.
I've seen you twice in a week. It's crazy.
It's crazy. And by the way, you're invited to my friend's Super Bowl party.
Oh, thank you.
We're co-hosting a Super Bowl party up in the mountains.
Oh, that's so fun.
So I'll send you an invite. And,
Yeah, thank
no
you.
obligation, but you guys are definitely welcome to come.
We're having 1 million people over at our house,
Yeah.
so... But thank you.
I figured, hey, no problem. It's funny because it got away from me because he's one of my best friends. We went to China Mission South together before I went over to North, and then his wife just sort of ran with it, and she's like, "You guys are co-hosting a party," and it's like, "Well, shit, all right,
Yeah,
I guess we
all
are."
right, guess so.
Yeah. So I reached out to you about this because you, and I hope you don't mind me putting you on the spot, but you had posted a Facebook post about how you had a Karen moment at America's Furniture Warehouse. Is
Yes,
that right?
I was the Karen.
Uh-oh.
And I posted that because that's very unlike me to be a Karen.
Yeah.
And I was surprised that I did it because I've never, usually I'm pretty laid back, so I kind of let things slide and
You seem pretty mellow to me.
Yeah, I try not to get too worked up about stuff. And
so what happened?
So my husband and I, we remodeled our house. Fun, middle-aged stuff. And we redid our downstairs, and so we needed a new couch. So he and the kids went beforehand, and a lady was helping them. And, we don't like to be surrounded when we're trying to pick stuff out or whatever. So this gal, she backed off, here's my name. Whenever you see something you like and want to talk about it, let me know.
Yeah.
So I get to the store and meet them, and we're looking around, and Jason, my husband, said that this lady was helping us. And so then a different sales associate came up.
Okay.
And so we told her, "Oh, thank you, but such and such, I can't remember her name, Anne is helping us." And this new gal just would not leave us alone. She just would not back off. we told her several times, we're already being helped. Thank you. And, she's just like a vulture.
Yeah.
So she had stepped on the toes of the gal that was originally helping us and ended up making the sales commission.
Ooh.
And that's what pissed me off.
Yeah.
So that's why I Karen'd.
So when you Karen'd, what happened? Walk us through that.
Well, it's funny. I don't mean to get too detail oriented, but this gal that, vultured in, she ended up totally fucking up our order. It was like $1,500 more than it was supposed to have been. And so she just didn't know what she was doing. Mm-hmm. So she ended up having to get the girl who was helping us originally to like put in the process. Yeah, and like figure it out. And so when it was all over with, I asked the gal that was originally helping us, like, did you make money off of this? And she's like, no, but it's okay. And I was like, it's not fucking okay. Yeah. So I went up to the service desk and was like, can I please speak to the manager?
Did you say, I want to talk to the
yes,
manager?
Yes, I said I need to talk to the manager. I said that. And then, he came out and I just told him what happened. And I was like, I don't mean to be one of those person, people. Yeah. But, it just really bothered me because, people have kids and, they're working to make ends meet. Mm-hmm. And she definitely should have, we spend a lot of money there. So she definitely should have made that commission.
So what did the manager say?
He was just like, oh, Jake Jabs, is that his name? The American warehouse guy. He wouldn't want his employees to be doing things like that. So we'll let her know. Hi, Ashley.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm guessing you're not.
We are. That's Rocky, everybody.
Hi. Hi, Pop. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
So, Jake.
Yeah, so he the manager said that Jake Jabs wouldn't want his employees to be doing things like that. So I just wanted you to know.
Okay. So are they going to fix it? Do you think that they went back and they're going to adjust that at all?
I don't know. I mean, who knows?
It doesn't sound too Karen-y, from in the realm of things. It's not like I don't think you sounded unreasonable in the situation.
No, but I don't really think I'm an unreasonable person.
No, sure.
I feel like Karens are, they're constantly bitching about something.
Hold on. Hey.
Here, buddy. Come on.
They're constantly bitching. It's like they make it a point to find something wrong with every situation that they go into. So
the stereotypical Karen really should bitch to her hairstylist,
right?
Not everybody else. But in this situation, like usually my experiences with what I would consider a true Karen, because I don't consider you this.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is the totally unreasonable, irrational. Right. It could be man or woman, really. Right. We just had to give it a name, so I didn't create the meme. I just roll with it.
Right.
But like. It's the lady who comes up and starts wigging out, irrationally and regardless of the employee's emotional situation and like abilities and things like that.
Right.
It's terrible. What I see some of my customers do to my employees sometimes is just terrible. They should be embarrassed for it, honestly. And I sometimes see customers standing behind the Karen who calls them out on that shit. I've called people out on that shit.
Right. Good for you. I was going to ask you if you how you deal with Karens, that are completely out of line and have no ground to stand on.
It's challenging because, you know, as a general manager, you're sort of in this between a rock and a hard place with it, because you want to back up your employees, but you have a directive from above to also make sure that all your customers leave happy.
Right.
And so you have to find that. You have to be able to identify that moment where you can de-escalate the situation, even when they're being irrational, because you know how it goes. Like, you're married.
Yep.
Have you ever told your husband to calm down?
Yes.
How's that go over? Or vice versa, has your husband ever told you to calm down?
Yes.
Does it go over real well?
Not really.
No, not even a little bit, right?
Not even a little
so
bit.
Imagine telling a customer. I mean, obviously there's different euphemisms you can use to tell somebody to calm the fuck down, but
calm your tits. That's one of my
calm your
favorite
tits.
ones.
I love that. So usually what I'll do, you know, if it's me, if they're yelling and screaming and stuff like that, what I'll try to do is I'll try to make a determination as to are they just yelling, or are they yelling at me?
Right.
If they're yelling at me, or cussing at me, as opposed to just like, this is fucking bullshit.
Right.
There's a difference, in my opinion. And so if it's all directed at me, or if it's directed at an employee or manager or whatever, then we'll say, you know what, we're here to help.
Right.
I'm happy to listen. I'm happy to help you out, but we're gonna need to settle things down a little bit before we can continue.
Yes.
You know, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
And you just try to maintain, you know, an easygoing body language.
Right.
Try to stay open to it. Try to smile without looking like the Joker.
Right.
You know, that kind of stuff.
Right.
And do everything you can to really like de-escalate that situation.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
I got an email actually from someone yesterday that I don't know. This is all as I've been trying to ramp up the social media for this podcast. This woman reached out to me, and she is a manager, like a guest service manager at a children's museum.
Okay.
And one of the things she asked me was, what would you do, you know, when you've got two different moms who are ready to go at it with each other because, you know, one of the kids was, you know, getting in the way of another kid or whatever, and then suddenly it turns into this big thing. And I think she threw racism in there too, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah. We get the racist
terrible.
stuff a lot.
Do
at
you
my work.
really?
Yeah. In fact, funny enough, I have several managers of color, and they're the ones that typically get accused of it from someone of color as well. And it's like, you know, like this one manager in particular, he's like, you know, I'm black too, right? You know, what are we doing here?
Right, absolutely.
You know? And that's a really touchy thing in today's world.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially, you know, in a movie theater. Like, I've seen other chains that I don't work for right now that have hit the news and just had super bad PR because of that particular kind of stuff.
Right.
It's super tough.
It is super tough.
Yeah. So that's your Karen moment. That's not too bad. I don't think you need to be too embarrassed by that.
I know, but I just, you know, like I said, I just don't do stuff like that. You know, that that's not me.
Yeah.
So it just I felt very much out of my element.
Were you embarrassed?
I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
And then, so Jason and the kids left before I Karen'd.
Okay.
Because
so they didn't see this shit go down.
No, he didn't.
Did he know it was going to go down?
No.
Okay.
No. So I got home and I told him what happened. And he's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Because, you know, he was like, "Oh God, I'm so glad I wasn't there."
It can be embarrassing for the other person too.
I know,
you know?
I know.
I've had so many times where I'm dealing with a Karen, and either their friend or their significant other is standing next to, or a kid is standing next to them, and they're just like
oh, I know,
you know,
like,
covering their
shut
eyes,
up.
like, "Oh Jesus Christ, I just want to get out of this situation."
Absolutely. Yeah.
I get really embarrassed very easly as well. So if somebody around me is doing something like that, I'm like, I gotta go.
Yeah, totally.
I'll be outside.
Calm your tits.
But there's moments. I've had a Karen moment as well. It's been a pretty long time, and this is super embarrassing. But since you shared what you consider being embarrassed, I don't think you need to be embarrassed. Wow. But I was at Worlds of Fun.
Oh God.
Long time ago. I think I would have been like 18, maybe 19, somewhere around, maybe a little older. I don't know, somewhere around that age. But I was with Ryan Bacon. I don't know if you remember him, and his sister, and another person, I can't remember who, and so we were all there, kind of like it was a date sort of situation,
Sure.
and so we were all hanging out there, and you know how they sell the turkey legs?
Yeah.
They're right, those are amazing, right?
Yes.
And that's like a a staple of an amusement
Worlds of
park.
Fun.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Worlds of Fun is like an Elitch's or
It's a world
it's
of
a
fun.
cheap Disney. Yeah.
Yes, it's a cheap Disney.
So we go. I want to go get a turkey leg, and the dude's like, "Hey man, we're sold out right now, but we'll have some in about an hour."
Okay.
And I'm like, "All right,
Yeah.
I'll be back in about an hour." Now I'm really excited about this turkey leg.
Right,
Like I can
right.
taste it.
It's on
you know,
your
in my mouth.
radar.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm super excited about this. Looking forward to it. So we went and did some stuff, and we came back about 50 minutes later. I came back a little early so I could make sure that I was going to get a turkey leg.
Yeah.
And when I get back there, the guy's like, "Oh man, we already sold out again." And I lost my fucking mind. Look, at that age, I had a lot of issues.
Oh God, we all did.
And
Everything
I
was
just
a big deal then.
blew up
So,
on this guy. And I feel
yeah.
like, in retrospect, looking back on this, I mean, this is 25 years
Right,
ago or maybe,
right.
you know, and I'm looking back on this, and it was just, I feel so bad for the people that were with me because they were trying to calm me down. They're like, "Dude,
Right.
relax about it.
Right.
Calm your tits," as
Calm
you like
your
to say.
tits.
And this is all over a dumbass turkey leg, and
Yeah.
I'm blowing up on this guy, and I feel so bad because if I knew who that guy was, I swear to God, I would go apologize to him.
Right.
And maybe
if you're
if I'm
listening,
lucky.
Chris is sorry.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe I'll get lucky and this guy will
Right.
hear it and he'll be like, "That motherfucker.
That motherfucker.
Where are you living, bitch?"
Totally.
So that was my Karen moment.
Yeah.
So let's segue into your job. You're
Yes.
you're in customer service,
Yes,
right? What do
I
you
sure
What do you do?
So I work for a telecommunications business. It's very complex, but we use like multimedia for like government officials, sports teams, to have like these town hall conferences.
Okay.
So that's the main thing that we do, but we have a lot of clients, and the customer care team department, we're the face of the company,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody filters their questions and concerns through us, and so it's a lot of we can never be. We never want to apologize and say that it's our fault that anything happens. So it's very specific wording.
And you're trying to deflect.
Deflect and help, and thank you so much for reaching out.
Mm-hmm.
We're so.
I understand.
I understand your concerns.
Yeah.
We'll have such and such follow up with you.
Lots and lots of empathy.
Yes,
Yeah.
lots of empathy.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing that?
I've been doing this actually it's been about a year.
Okay. Do you like it?
I do.
Okay.
I do. It's fast paced, so the days go by quickly. And I love the people that I work with.
That's good.
They're amazing.
That's good.
Yeah.
So you're fielding phone calls, or you're clickety clack on the computer, or both?
Both.
Okay.
Both. Mainly computer. So,
Okay.
but yeah, some of the stuff people, will get upset about.
So tell us about some of this.
Well, just like if these clients will have lists of hundreds of thousands of people that they call, and if somebody didn't get the phone call that wanted to be called, why was that phone number not called? And then we have to dig in and find out what happened, and it's usually their fault because they didn't provide the number to us.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just very like I said, we just have to find creative ways of telling people that they screwed up,
Yeah.
and it's not our fucking fault.
Yeah.
So
That's a tough thing to do, right?
It is.
To
It really,
somehow
really is.
creatively
Absolutely.
tell someone, you're fucking wrong.
Exactly, and I had to do that. I was a contractor for the EPA for many years, and we had to do that as well. We never, if something didn't happen that, specifically, if something was missed or something, we could never we were never supposed to apologize and say, "Oh, that was our fault."
Is that because of liability reasons?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's tough. Like in my industry, that's all we do.
Right.
We just
right.
grovel like motherfuckers, you know.
Yeah.
And it's a bitch because the moment you even imply that they made the mistake, get ready.
Oh yeah.
Get ready.
They get pissed.
Like we have people. A common thing is there's 2 locations for my company in the same town, right?
Okay.
And so we're very easily confused when they're buying tickets online. And so they'll frequently intend to come to my theater and then buy tickets for the other one, and then they show up, with their little QR code, and we, won't bring up the tickets. We're like, yeah, you bought tickets for the other theater. And like, this is bullshit. And they start getting mad at you, and you're like, wait a minute.
How is this my fault?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you can't tell someone that.
Right.
So you have to like get creative, and it's all about, like, one of the things I hear very frequently from my supervisor is figure out a way to not use the word no.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Always find a way to say yes. Always figure out how you can resolve the situation.
Yep.
Don't ever say no. Don't ever say I can't do that.
Yes.
And so, which is fine. I have no problem with that. It's very difficult to do, though, challenging to do when someone's screaming at you.
Right.
About a mistake they made, and you're trying to fix it. It gets even worse too because my location has very few seats. It's a recliner theater, and so there's only like 800 seats in the building. So we sell out movies really, really fast.
Right.
And so if they bought tickets for the other theater and then they came to mine and it's a busy movie,
right,
they're kind of SOL,
screwed,
And so that makes it even worse.
It's you can never say no. It's like a yes world.
Yeah. So do people get mad at you when you don't apologize? If it was, let's say it was actually an error on your all's part.
Sure. Well, usually when it gets to that point, I get my manager.
Okay. How nice for you to be able to do
isn't
that.
That nice? and she'll usually take care of it. She has, the mad skills of being able to explain things to kind of take the pressure off of us.
Are you there when that happens?
Yes,
okay.
I am.
So what do you see? What have you observed your manager do to kind of de-escalate things? Are there any tips and tricks that you can share?
Definitely listening, and I understand, and we want this to be a good experience for you. Do you have any recommendations? Is there any way we can assist you to
resolve the issue
and to adhere to your goals? It's language.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's tough sometimes, I think, to, you want to say all those things and you want to be genuine about it,
right.
But sometimes it can be tough to not be perceived as fake.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You have to have really good people skills.
Yeah.
Good aura about you, and we've taken some hits this year. There've been some fuck ups at work, and there's definitely some clients that don't trust us and our platform as much as they used to, but that's just the way it goes.
Yeah, that's hard.
It is hard.
Yeah. We it's one of the hard things to train my employees on. They're all young, you know, so it's a much different environment than yours. Like, I'm used to talking to people who are in retail or theaters or stuff like that. And so you're a unique situation, which is kind of cool. I like to bring on people that have different situations, but like, trying to teach a 17-year-old how to genuinely show empathy when a guest is screaming at them, because all that's going through their head is go fuck yourself. Like, I don't get paid enough for this.
Oh, absolutely.
Where in your situation, you're a career professional, to a degree, you're probably expected to have to handle some of that. In my situation, it's the same thing. It's like, this is my career.
Right.
I get paid a lot more than my employees do. And I don't have the luxury of being able to just go get my manager either.
Right, because you are the manager.
I am the manager. I am.
You are the manager.
Now, it can escalate beyond me, but
Right.
the sole directive from above is you need to do everything you can not to let these
Right.
situations go above you.
Absolutely.
And I mean, that's my directive to everybody below me as well. Is like,
Right.
look, your goal should be satisfy your customers, delight your
Absolutely.
customers, you know.
Well, and I don't always I hate having to get my manager.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I'm at that point in my life where, I care about my job and
Yeah.
I care about how I'm perceived
Mm-hmm.
at work, and I want to be able to handle it.
Sure. Well, and I'm sure you
know,
don't have to do it
so-
that often.
No,
Yeah,
no,
it's
not too often.
Yeah, I could probably count on one hand how many times I've let it go past me.
Right,
You know,
right.
unfortunately, it seems like most of them are at the location I'm at now. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when I say Karen, what image does that evoke?
I think of that horrible reality star lady.
With the Kate?
Yes,
with the kid?
A Million Kids.
Yeah. What, John and Kate plus 8 was that what it was called? Yeah.
Her with that
the hair,
hairstyle,
yeah.
the super short in the back. Not
Pixie
that there's
cut?
anything wrong with that.
Is that a
but-
pixie cut? Is that what that's called?
Well, it's super short in the back and then really long in the front.
It's like a reverse mullet?
Yes, it's a
Yeah.
reverse mullet.
For a woman.
And it's usually spiked. I'm sorry, anyone who's listening to
Did you see the
this, but-
Facebook post this morning about Ashley shared it with me, where it was where somebody was like, I wonder if the Karens out there,
Yes, I did
hate
see
this
that.
meme, and then a Karen
Yes.
was like, I absolutely
Right,
hate it. And I do feel terrible, but look, I didn't
Right.
create this
I
meme.
know,
It
I
is
know,
what it
it
is.
is
I mean,
what it is.
Sharon and Brenda should probably be pissed too, because I think all
Right.
those names can be used
Susan.
interchangeably. Susan, yeah. So Karen, it just happens to be what I gravitate to.
Yeah.
Now, some of your customers that when there are issues that come up, do some of them really get worked up?
Oh yeah, there's this one dude in particular, and he'll just call and he'll just scream at us like, "What the fuck?"
Really?
Because we also send out.
Stop. Sorry, folks. Rocky just wants to talk.
He wants to get in on this combo. We also send out broadcasts robocalls that everyone
Oh,
likes,
thank you for
but
that.
they're FCC approved, so they have to be compliant,
Yeah.
or else we don't let them run on our platform. But this one guy, if something goes wrong with these calls he sends out, he calls us and just
Lays into you.
take the phone away from your ear, and you could just hear him just.
Wow.
Yeah.
What would have gone wrong? From his perspective.
if the call didn't go out exactly when he wanted it to.
So this is for a business he owns?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah. He has
He's trying to market.
He has a telecommunications business. Where I don't want to bore everybody, but if John Smith was holding a town hall on Tuesday, the 28th at 7 p.m., he would send a recording to us that we would have to approve to make sure it's compliant with the FCC.
Okay.
And then it would dial at a certain time
Okay.
to all the
So a
phone
scheduled
numbers.
call goes
yeah,
out.
a scheduled call goes
Okay.
out, and he provides us with a list of people that he wants the call to go to. So and there are various factors like different carriers get overloaded with calls and calls don't go through, and then he wants to know why, and why were some of the calls busy signals and stuff.
How does he even know?
Because
Is there analytics?
Yeah, there's analytics, and he gets the analytics.
Huh.
So
yeah, it would just never occur to me, especially I guess in a scenario. I mean, look, I take business very seriously.
Right,
Like I've
right.
owned my own business before, and I work for, I'm in a decent position within my own company.
Sure.
I take all that stuff very seriously, but at the same time, like shit goes wrong.
Yeah, shit goes wrong
Shit
all the
happens.
time.
And to lose your mind about something like that and go off on another human
Yeah,
being like that just
I know.
never occurs. Well, I say never, and I just told a story from a while back.
Well,
but
I have to say
he's a
this-
grown-ass man.
Yeah, he's a grown-ass man. He's probably like in his 50s, and he's had 2 heart attacks.
Oof. Well,
So,
that's
I mean,
probably why.
yeah, this guy is just like...
Bro needs to meditate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bro
Yeah.
needs some...
Is he living in Colorado? Maybe he should take up on
he's
some of the...
Canadian.
So. He's Canadian and he's an asshole? How is that even possible? I thought all Canadians were nice.
Canadian.
Well, so he's done this more than once?
He doesn't all the time.
So is anybody like you or your manager, at what point does someone say, look, bro, like you can't keep talking to us this way. We value you as a customer, blah, blah, blah.
So a couple of us have different ways of handling it. I have been blessed to have never had to speak to this man ever. And
you
I
can probably hear him now.
Yes, I hear him. But my one of the gals I work with, she just holds the phone away from her ear and just lets him finish. And then, I'll be like, all right, we'll try to,
we'll get on it.
Yeah, we'll get on it. We'll try to figure out what happened. We'll be in touch soon. And then the full manager of our group, she'll kind of talk to, get him to calm down, and then try to explain things very childlike to him.
Yeah, like he's a 4th grader.
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then he'll...
No offense to the 4th graders out there.
No offense to the 4th graders. She's in 5th grade. So.
Oh, okay. You escaped.
Yeah. But then he always realizes that he freaked.
So he levels out.
Yeah. But it doesn't stop him from doing it again.
It's interesting. So I guess, if you get used to a person like that, you can just be like, okay, 30 seconds from now, it's gonna, this will be over.
Exactly.
I wonder if like somebody should say something to him one day and be like, hey man, we love you. You gotta like calm down.
You need to calm down.
Let's go out for a beer.
Exactly.
Oh,
exactly.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
When you deal with one of those really difficult ones, like what kind of internal reaction do you have? Like how do you feel when you're going through that kind of stuff? Somebody's yelling at you.
Well, that's a good question. I think it's just common nature to feel attacked, even if it has nothing to do with you or you couldn't give a shit about why they're upset. I think that's just probably where I go first, but then I have to de-escalate myself from getting worked up and getting offended because
you feel like your blood pressure raise and stuff like that.
I turn like red and stuff.
Oh yeah. It's interesting because I train my people all the time on don't ever take it personally, take it seriously, and that's rich coming from me because I take it personally. I try not to.
Yeah, you try not to.
I did a whole episode that is just me talking about like the anxiety associated with it and things like that, and it's a little embarrassing to talk about, but I think a lot of people might be able to relate to it because whether when I was younger it would manifest in anger.
Oh yeah.
Because I'd want to like punch him in the throat.
Right.
I didn't. But, but then as years went on and my I got control of my anger issues and things like that. I calmed down a lot. But then now it manifests itself in sort of an anxiety situation, or my blood pressure races. I have to like go walk around the building.
Right.
I do like breathing exercises. Things like that.
Well, I gotta say the older I get, the more I realize that most stuff people will get angry with, to me or whatever, I have nothing to do with it. Yeah. It's their issue. Yeah. And so I do work with younger people, and I see, like at work, if they get put in this situation, or just internally, if maybe somebody we work with is having a bad day and maybe not as nice, they get so hurt about it. And I'm like, you know what? It really has nothing to do with you, and don't get upset about it because it's not worth it.
It's so tough to know that in the moment.
Right.
I think.
I know. I know.
And I really do try to give consideration to there, like you kind of touched on. There's a myriad of issues that could be happening to this person outside of this situation, and really this situation is kind of what pushed them over the edge a little bit, or contributed to it at least.
Right.
This one company I work for, they used to have this great video. I don't know if they still show it to their people, where they'll show, I think there was like 4 or 5 different customers coming to see a movie that ran into an issue while they were seeing the movie, and then they want to talk to a manager and they flip out and stuff. But then what it'll do is it rewinds, back to an hour before, the day before, whatever, and what was going on in that person's world. Like one woman she came to the movies because she just got done at the courthouse finalizing her divorce. And then she comes in to see a movie and things don't go well. Now she's just livid, but it's really all her own internal stuff.
Right.
And everybody's got their bullshit.
Everybody's got their bullshit. And I've actually found that when people do freak out, if you even just say, hey, I'm really sorry that you're feeling, so upset right now, and just like trying to understand or acknowledge that they're having these feelings, they can calm down a little
absolutely.
bit. So
I try to listen as much as I can, so the one thing I really try to do when I walk out, when I know I'm walking into a situation, like I get called out to come talk to somebody, I try to like internally prep myself as I'm going out there. So I put a big stupid smile on my face, and then as I walk up, I smile as I walk up, I introduce myself, and I try to keep my voice really light. Hey, how are you today? My name's Christopher. I understand there was a concern, and that kind of thing. I try to keep my body open, because try not to. There's all these different body language tricks and things that you have to remember. And like where I am, at least from my perspective, people seem to be sensitive. Is a good word for it, I guess. And I guess sensitive with respect to tonality, to body language, to the choice of words, all that kind of stuff. And it takes very, very little for someone to suddenly perceive you as being rude. Right. And one of the things that we run into in my industry all the time is if, let's say they, dealt with an employee about something and that employee didn't resolve their concern. Did you have something to say about this, Ryan? Yeah. If they didn't resolve the concern, then it gets escalated, like they'll email into the corporate office or whatever. And then it becomes less about that situation and more about how the employee was quote unquote rude. Right. And it was really, the employee wasn't rude. They just told you something you didn't really want to hear.
Exactly.
And that's the tough part too.
Well, I resonate with you, saying that when you're going to get into that situation, putting a smile on your face and being open and friendly, because we usually, I would say 90% of the time, our communication is through email with these clients. So a new girl started like a couple weeks ago, and I'm just full of it, but I told her, I was like, just when you get these tickets, just put a smile on your face and be like, oh, it's so, thank you for reaching out. Well, in your head you're saying,
such a corporate
fuck off.
I'm so glad you reached out to us today.
It is so great to hear from you.
Yeah, I'm glad to have this opportunity, because in knowing this, in your communication, that has allowed us to realize and learn from this situation so that we can be better.
Yes,
we can
absolutely.
be better. Yeah, we'll improve. I make fun of it, but look, what else are we supposed to do too? Because I'm self-conscious of it when I train my people, because I know I'm telling them stuff that I don't always feel.
Oh, sure.
But what else am I going to tell them? It's
what
not like I can be like, tell them to fuck themselves.
So,
you know what I mean? And I know my boss feels the same way. Like, look, I've known my boss for a really long time, and he's a great, great guy. Yeah. He is really, really good at the customer service stuff. He has that ability to just let stuff slide off of him. He's really, really, I'm so envious of it, because I don't have that.
Right.
he's had to deal with a couple of things from my location that have escalated, and I've talked to him about it a lot. I'm like, bro, I don't know what my problem is.
Right,
He's like, you gotta stop stressing so much. And it's like, well, that's so easy to say.
It's easier said than done.
But he even has expressed, like, I mean, look, they're being unreasonable. They're being like, he dealt with a guy not too long ago that had literally threatened me. Like, me and one of my assistant managers. He was an older guy, and he was like, we're talking to him about the situation, and then he's like, well, I'm a high-level belt in Kung Fu or whatever. And I told him, I was like, well, I'm a black belt in martial arts. He's in jiu-jitsu. Like, what are we talking about here? Are we sharing stories? Are you threatening me?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? He's like, I just take out your knees. And it's like, really, man? So then, I thought we de-escalated the city. Like, by the end of the conversation, he was laughing. I'm laughing. He's walking back to his movie. We thought everything was good. He calls my boss like a couple days later. So my boss is calling me, and he's like, oh yeah, he told me I need to fire you. And I'm like, what? Thankfully, I have a great boss, and he just takes that stuff with a grain of salt.
Man,
but
people are nuts.
it really, I mean,
People
it's
are
just
just
unfortunate.
nuts.
Because as much as I tried to give thought to like what might be going on in someone else's world, sometimes there just isn't.
Yeah.
Sometimes people are just assholes.
Absolutely, and there's that saying, there's no excuse to be an asshole to people. You know?
There really isn't.
So,
before the job that you have now, have you worked in customer service before?
oh God, let me think. Yeah, I guess I did when I was in high school and college.
Yeah.
I worked at Express.
Ooh, retail.
Yeah.
Okay. So you had to have some moments there too.
Yeah, I was a really naive and stupid kid, so I just kind of I don't really remember a lot, but
Did you work at the Oak Park Mall?
no, I worked at Town Center.
Ooh, la-di-da.
La-di-da-di-da.
That's honestly, those are where some of the worst people are. No
Oh,
offense
God.
to our hometown, but
No.
sometimes.
It's the truth hurts. And it's true.
Yeah.
And then I worked at a store in Lawrence when I was going
When
to
you went
KU.
to college.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So like just it was a little hippie store that sold
Gotcha.
like incense and shit.
Oh,
so.
well, everybody there is probably cool.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think over the years, it's probably tough to gauge because so much time in between, but do you think that people have gotten worse or better, or like what do you think
Oh, I definitely think people are worse.
Yeah.
I mean, I know every generation has
These
said
kids
this.
today.
These kids today. But I just feel like people expect, or they think they're owed everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And if they don't get their way, then they get pissed, and I know not everyone's like that, but I just,
What do you think that's stemming from? Where do you think that's coming from?
maybe instant gratification that we have now, like with our cell phones and information and
Google and
everything can be
Amazon.
you can buy, everything's disposable and affordable.
Mm-hmm.
So
So when they don't get it right then and there.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's been a pretty common theme. Every single person that's come on
Really?
has said that exact same thing,
Oh,
that they
that's
feel like it's gotten
interesting.
worse, and they feel like it's due to entitlement or
Yes,
being
it's
owed
entitlement
or
for
whatever.
sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think entitlement's become a huge issue in society.
Absolutely.
Well, a lot of people attribute it to everybody bashes on the millennials.
Mm-hmm.
And I have my own thoughts about that generation, I guess, but I really think there's a small segment of millennials that really give millennials a bad name, and just as
Right.
there's
Oh,
a segment of
absolutely.
boomers that
Right.
give boomers a bad name.
Exactly.
Gen X, we're off the hook, it seems.
We're
for
the
now.
best.
I give it 5 years, and
Yeah,
somehow they're going to
totally.
find something on us, but
Exactly.
but I don't think it's relegated to one generation. I think that there's people at all age groups that have this sense of
absolutely.
entitlement,
Right.
and it's super unfortunate because it's like, well, look, on one hand, we have been able to expect that we get things much faster and cheaper and things like that, but people still need to remember, especially when whether you're at a restaurant or even in your business where things just go wrong.
Yeah, things just go wrong.
technology is great when it works,
Yeah.
but shit happens.
I also feel, not to go on a rant, but
go ahead. That's what this is for.
Yeah, right. I feel like kids nowadays, like, they're not taught to be.
You're getting some side eye from your kid.
They're like never bored. Like they always have to be doing something. Like I remember when I was a kid, you know, like my mom's doing the laundry or whatever, and it's like, oh, I'm bored. It's like,
too bad.
Find something to do, or else I'll give you something to do.
That's right.
You know, but I don't have anything to do. I'm gonna play on my phone or watch TV or something. Like kids are always in something. It seems like they have to be in something, and then when there's nothing to do or they're not stimulated, then they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So,
they can't. They haven't. They've lost the ability to be creative and teach themselves how to. And I'm not saying everybody,
right?
But a lot of them.
Perfect.
Yeah, she's perfect. So are my kids. No, I remember. Excuse me. Being forced to go play outside.
Yes.
During the summer, you know, like my ex-stepmother would essentially kick me outside and lock the door. She's like, you're not allowed to come back in for the rest of the day. Right. What if I need water? Drink out of the hose.
Yeah.
I mean, that's product of growing up in the 80s,
right,
you know.
Absolutely.
It's like, as long as you're home before dark.
Absolutely. That street light comes on.
That's
right.
When
you gotta come
that's
home.
right. You hear your mom screaming
right.
at you. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so I do agree. I think that, you know, they're not used to having to figure things out and do things for themselves a little bit. So, and what's crazy is that it's transitioned over to adults too, you know, but now, you know, we're seeing the generation that's growing up with technology, they're starting to become adults. Right. I mean, my oldest is 20 and I mean, the internet's been here his whole life. Right. You know, iPads have been here pretty much his whole life. Yeah. You know, stuff like that. I mean, you know, I'm watching your daughter. She's got a phone. She's not bored. If this was 15 years ago and that was my kid be like, I am bored. Like, are you almost done with this dumbass podcast?
Totally,
why'd you even bring me with you? But instead, she gets to watch a movie or whatever she's doing.
I know. Well, and I feel like also that's transitioning these adults that have always had this stimulation. Electronics, they're not as dedicated to, like, when they do get a job, they just, I don't like this job, so I'm gonna leave. So like nobody, like people, the door is always open and closing at my work.
And you know, people, the younger generation is actually being taught to do that. Like I'll see articles from whether it's LinkedIn or Forbes or any of those that's literally talking about it's a good idea to change jobs like every 2-3 years because you're going to end up making more money in the long run because you can leverage what you were making into a new position with a new company. And so they're just being taught there's no and you know, everybody's being told, well, your company's not loyal to you, so why should you be loyal to them? And there may or may not be truth to that. It varies, I'm sure, from industry to industry, company to company or whatever, but yeah, I mean, I think they're just, that's the mindset now.
I just guess I come from the old school. Like, I mean, if I have a job, like, I want to stay and be good at it and make these connections, and I don't want to be looking for the next thing.
Yeah, and starting over is rough.
Yeah, starting over is rough.
Yeah, it's not a good time at all. And I have the memory of a goldfish, so trying to relearn something or learn something new or whatever it can be challenging for me because it's like, bro, I'm 45 years old. Like,
for real.
I'm losing my marbles a little bit. You know?
For real. I feel that.
Yeah. Any other like really rough customer experiences you've been in that you can think of?
Oh man, I'm sure if I thought, I'll probably drive away from here and be like,
son of a bitch.
I should have told him about that.
Any that you've like witnessed? Have you ever been in public, like whether it's like at an Old Navy or a movie theater or a restaurant? Have you ever like witnessed a situation?
Oh yeah, you know, like at the grocery store. So I live in Highlands Ranch, which is
La-di-da.
just like Leawood.
Yeah, it is.
But there's a mountain view there.
And it's more expensive.
Yeah, it's really, well, you know, it's funny because when Jason and I bought our house down there, we bought it for nothing. It's like doubled.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I'm like, woo!
Yeah.
At any rate, there are some snobby people down there, and I see it a lot at the grocery store, like with the I try to be one of those people that treats everyone the same, whether they're a grocery store employee or a CEO or whatever.
Speaks to your character.
Well, thank you.
You bet.
But yeah, I see a lot of people just real condescending and I'm better than you.
It's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. And it makes me sad for them. Like, how did you get there? Like, how did
it come to this?
Yeah, how did it come to this? Like, what happened in your life to make you like this? Was it your parents? Is it your entitlement?
Are you just unhappy?
Are you just unhappy? Do you hate your life? Like what's the deal?
I think that's the worst. Like people who are unhappy with themselves or in their life that turn around and take it out on other people are just the worst.
Oh, they're the worst.
Because look, we all have shit that goes wrong in our lives, and bullshit that we have to deal with or whatever. Right. Some more than others, but to turn around, I mean, I've been through some shit, man, but I don't ever take it out on someone else.
No.
I can't say I've never. When I was younger, I did.
Well, sure.
But I've learned over the years. And being in customer service certainly helps me remember that. And honestly, I think that anybody who hasn't worked in customer service should.
Right.
At least for 6 months, maybe go be a server somewhere, or,
Absolutely.
work at an Old Navy or whatever it is, and just have to experience what it's like and get the other side of it.
Yeah.
Work a Black Friday in retail or something at a Best Buy.
It's a shit show.
Or Walmart or whatever. Yeah, it's a total shit show. Like Walmart's probably the worst because either you get the ends of the spectrums are the worst people to deal with. So on the socioeconomic scale, dealing with the discount minded, poor, I guess, that might be visiting Walmart, or the CEOs or whatever on the other end of the spectrum. Those two segments are the rake. Like they're just the worst to deal with.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And it's crazy the people that like the discount minded folks. And how amped up they can get, and it's like like people who come in on a discount day to see a movie, and they're yelling and screaming. It's like, you only paid like, a quarter of what you would normally pay to get in. I don't know why you're so upset.
Exactly.
Or like when people are getting something for free. Those are some of the worst. Like they got something for free and then they're still not happy, and it's like you really need a STFU right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's working with the people. It's interesting.
Yeah, I'm envious because of you, because you do have the benefit of not having to necessarily interact with them in person all the time, and so
that is a wonderful thing.
Compose yourself a little bit more.
Yeah, I would definitely
think about.
Yeah, I definitely have time to think of what I'm gonna say. I hate it when my phone rings at my office. I'm like, oh God,
who the hell's calling me?
Who the fuck's calling me, and what am I gonna say?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm hidden behind a computer screen, so they don't.
Yeah.
They don't know who I am, and I'm just typing and thinking it through. So.
Yeah, the really rough ones I get, it's nice. It's not nice, but it's nice that they'll usually come in through an email, and then I have time to really think. I'm a much better writer than I am a speaker, which is ironic considering I'm hosting a podcast. But
I didn't say that. You're great.
Thank you. But I had that time to really draft something good. I had the ability to go pull someone into my office, say, "Hey, will you look this over? Make sure I A, don't sound like an asshat, and B, make sure I'm not saying something to them that's going to really escalate or exacerbate the issue."
Absolutely.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And so that's really nice. Or when it gets, they respond, but then I have time to like walk around, breathe, all that kind of stuff. But when it's that stuff that's like in the moment, that's when for the first like 30 seconds, it's a little rough for me.
I think that probably most people are like that.
Yeah.
I generally speaking, I would say most people are like that,
Yeah. Well, that's why I kind of devised this podcast, was because I want to reach out to those people and allow them to relate. And I don't mind hearing. I don't want to feel alone in that shit. I mean, it makes me Not that I want other people to necessarily have to go through that stuff.
Sure, but I mean, that's just the way it is now.
Misery loves company, I guess.
Exactly. It's nice to be able to talk about this shit.
It is.
You
it
know?
is. All
Yeah.
right. Well, with that said, we're up, just came up on an hour. So time flies when we're having fun.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Absolutely.
And this was fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
Okay. So till next time, everybody, we will see you later.
Bye.
That's the podcast, folks. Please visit kiarpodcast.com. That's KIAR podcast.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. New episodes are going to be posted weekly on kiarpodcast.com, Spotify, Apple, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. The views and opinions on this podcast are solely that of the guests and hosts and are not representative of any other organizations or individuals. If you or someone you know are interested in being a guest on Karen Isn't Always Right, please give us a visit at kiarpodcast.com and submit your interest on the Contact Us page, as we'd love to have you. Thanks for joining us on Karen Isn't Always Right, and we'll see you next time.